We're here for episode 4 of our Kurrinda Bloodstock podcast, Off and Racing, and we're in the Prince of Merryweather again. We came back to Newcastle to see a very special guest, Nathan Doyle. Nathan, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having us, fellas.
How have you been? What's been happening?
Not a lot. A bit better after a few beverages. Can't believe you guys are going to Brisbane and can't back up.
Yeah.
I thought you were better than that, the Irish.
Oh, we thought you'd come with us.
I'd say they disowned you after that.
Yeah. That's why I'm not allowed back home, so I've got to get citizenship here. No, mate, we'll just get into this and get a bit to know about you and give our listeners an insight into your life and how it is as a trainer. Did you always want to be a trainer, or was there something else in mind?
No, I've always wanted to be a trainer, George. Probably ever since I was in sort of racing or knew about racing, it's something I wanted to do. My uncle's still got the photo or the drawing on the wall to this day when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I drew him a picture of a horse, and I had around it how many horses I was going to train and what they were going to be. They were going to be Palomino and pain horses, so I didn't have much of an idea, but you can probably gather from a very young age is something I always wanted to do, and I just loved the animals, and probably grew up, my uncles and dad were punters, so I was always at the races, and dad's best mate was a horse trainer, so I was always at the stables there, and I just grew up, and it's something I always wanted to do and be around horses, so that's the path I went down.
And how come training, because most people grow up and they want to be a jockey or something because they see them in the limelight all the time, but you always wanted to be a trainer?
Yeah, I never had aspirations to be a jockey. I don't know why, but I always wanted to train horses, and I held a trainer's license 21. I was young and dumb and no idea, I admit that, but I was always driven to succeed, and I went away and worked in Sydney for 5 years and had 3 great tutors along the path there, and with my partner Mel, I thought the time was right to sort of venture out on our own, and we've had some success so far, and our aim is to be more prominent in the metropolitans, and I think we're going down that path. We're starting to get that good quality of stock to be able to aim up in that direction, and it's been a good ride so far.
And you mentioned your influences, Nath, in Sydney. Who helped you?
I can't define one, to be honest. I was with Peter and Paul Snowden and Martin Unum, and they were all great to me, but probably as hard as it is to probably say, going down there, what I got out of being in Sydney, it is a lot of what you know, but it's also who you know as well. You need the support, you need the stock, you need the backing, and I got to know some great people down there, and but you also got to pick up and learn how to train a horse, and those fellas, they're very good around horses, and a lot of the time you didn't even have to ask questions. You just watch, learn, look at their worksheets, and they sort of just flowed on from there. Like, I didn't go out real often when I was in Sydney. I'd prefer to look at the worksheets that we had the day before and sort of dissect how they got a horse to the races and how they got it to peak on the right day, because training horses, it's not easy, I can tell you that. There's so many 1%ers that go into getting them to win races. You think it's easy, you feed them, you work them, you go out there, and they just, if they're good enough, they win. But a lot of people don't know that horses are prone to asthma. 80% of horses can bleed in a race. It doesn't come out their nose. It's all about keeping their airways clean and also happy, fit, eating. It's just so much that goes into it. And you need good staff around you to do it. And
they can't speak to you, like our listeners, they can't talk to us.
Exactly right. And probably if they could, it wouldn't be as enjoyable as it is, you know what I mean? And if there was a textbook for training horses, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they? So
yep.
I suppose that's always the unknown, and that's always things that keep you guessing, probably keep you awake too much at night sometimes as well, but that's why we're in it for, the love of the animals, and you guys are the same.
So for our listeners, you being at those bigger stables, being around the better horses, would you say it's easier training the better horses or harder?
Good horses are good horses.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably what I learned is how to pick quality stock. Going down there, you're working with some very good animals. I was there with Russian Revolution, Capitalist, just to name a few, and they walked with swagger, you know what I mean? You pull them into the box and then you're going somewhere.
They just
And
give you that feeling, don't
give
they,
you that
straight
feeling,
away?
and
It's like it's an energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
and it's hard to describe, but when we go to yearling sales, you know what to pick for then.
Yep.
They come out, they've got a bit of presence. It's even kids at school or something. You know, you can pick the athletic kids, and even walking down the street, people walking down the street, if they're walking with a bit of presence and they're not sloppy, you know what I mean? It transpires to the races. And
I heard that all the time about myself.
sloppy? Sloppy or athlete?
Only
Just
only the asthma held them back. But mate, you're saying about like starting up and that. What like was the catalyst to take the plunge, and like was it hard to get people to trust you, to like put their trust in you to train their horses, and that starting out?
I didn't have any trust to start with. First 3 horses I trained on myself, me and Mel owned ourselves, and it sort of just rolled on from there. Our first run was a winner. We had 2 horses in work. First one won, the other one got a bit of nose in the race after, so it just sort of rolled on from there. And you know what I mean, you just got to put the hard work in, and you will get the rewards. And then the people you got to know sort of seen you, and then they started supporting you with horses, you know what I mean? But it's very hard until you prove it. No one wants to really give you a horse. Until you can prove you're a 2-year-old trainer, they won't give you 2-year-old types, sort of thing. So it just sort of rolled on from there, and we're starting to build up that stable now, where we feel that in the next 12 to 18 months it will be a lot more prominent in Sydney racing, and that's where I want to be. And I think it works with us so well because we're on the same path.
Yep.
You want your colours down there in metropolitan racing, and us, or myself as a trainer, Mel, our stable, we want to be prominent in metropolitan racing. That's the direction we want to go down. Like the prize money on offer in Sydney racing, it's mouth-watering. And like, to be honest, the comparison from country training fees to metropolitan and even provincial to what you're racing for, it's massive, you know what I mean? To going 13,000 for a winner in the country to 18,000 for a winner in Sydney, I think it's just something you got to strive for. It's a massive profit margin if you can get those horses, and we feel the stock you guys are buying as well, they're quality animals, and next 18 months, 2 years, I think we'll be really prominent down there.
Yeah, and it just snowballs. I said this to George, like, it might feel like a slow process, but you have to have the patience, don't you? Because then once you get the nice horses, it can snowball.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing I'd probably say to people, that the cheapest part is probably buying the horse. So buy the horse you want.
Yep.
Buy that athlete, and if it's a bit dearer, don't hesitate in going in, even if you drop your percentage down from 5% to 2.5% because it's a dearer horse. But I can tell you what, the fun that you'll have in racing in metropolitan, going down there on Saturday city meetings, it's unbelievable feeling, and you know as well as I, we're in it for a good time as well. So that's the main reason you sort of want to do it. You want to strive to get them good horses, and if you can get them stakes class horses, it's a massive bonus as well. But I feel we're on the right upward spiral anyway.
And for our listeners, you say like you got to put in the hard work, but it's a lot of sacrifices too, isn't it?
You don't have much of a life.
You
no.
just don't. Yeah.
No, you don't. You enjoy the good times when it does happen, and you may go out here and there, but you're regretting it for 4 or 5 days after. But
Here.
Yeah, we can both.
but I'll get back on the horse, unlike you fellas. But yeah, no, it is tough going. Like people think, oh, you're not replying their messages, or you're not answering their phone calls. But sometimes you're sleeping on the run. You know what I mean? You don't sleep a lot, to be honest. And it's not that you don't want to answer them, but to get the best out of horses, sometimes you got to be hands-on, and you got to be with them. Like I could sit at home on the back of a computer and give you an update every 2 days on how your horse is going, but is it bullshit?
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? I'd rather be. I love animals, and I like being with them. You know what I mean? And that's how you will get the results. And it's something probably I don't want to lose. Like we're at 40 in work at the moment. Probably would go to 50, but I probably don't want to go any bigger than. I think probably that 50 to 60 you can compete in Sydney on a regular basis, because you're going to have those young horses going through. But
And keep improving those 50 like all the time.
100%. But I think if I went to 100 in work, that's when I'm sitting behind a computer.
Well, that's where you lose, as you said, those 1%ers that are so important. Like, you lose control over them a bit.
Yeah, and there's so many good trainers around these days. You got to get your 1%ers right.
Yeah.
Normally, the better horses all went to the better trainers, but they're getting spread out so much these days. And to get them 1%ers right, to know your horses, like I said, they're prone to asthma, to know that their horse airway's clean. Even if you're there the day before a Saturday in afternoon shift, you have a look at their nostrils, no cough, and clean water, their bedding's dusted down. Simple things like that, you know what I mean? That's where I'd rather sort of be with the horse, but I think we're getting the nice results, and like I said, in the next 18 months to 2 years, I feel that we'll be down there on a regular basis.
Yeah, and a lot of the new people that have come into racing might not know Nathan and his partner. You started in the country, didn't you? So moving to Newcastle to provincial racing, it was a big step, wasn't it? Like, it took a lot of guts.
It was a big step. I think we only had 12 horses when we first moved down here, and a lot of people said, "Oh, what are you going down there for? You haven't got the quality of stock." So, fair enough. And I'm running a couple of me better clients, and I said, "Oh, looking to go into Newcastle to start training." And I said, "No worries, we'll have to send you some better horses."
Yep.
So I sort of, it was probably the best thing I ever did. And to say you can't train a good horse out of Newcastle, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fastnet Rock, Swazi,
Yeah.
Cement, this, like, it's not too far to go down that highway. It's a cruisy drive. We've got great facilities here at Newcastle. We've got good tracks, so they're good enough. They're going to aim up in that group level of city racing.
Yep. Do you see yourself leaving Newcastle? Would you go into that metro environment?
Never say never.
Yep.
But you just got to roll with the punches. I suppose the hardest bit would be you got to set up a whole new staff base. It's not as simple like a normal business. We've got a surf shop somewhere. We're going to expand out and move to Sydney. You know what I mean? It's not that easy. You know what I mean? You've got
your systems.
All your riders live here, or your ground staff live here. You got
they know your systems and what you like.
And if you move 50 horses somewhere, you go, bang, I need 6 riders and 14 ground staff. They're not going to be there, you know what I mean? So that's probably the hardest part. And if we can sort of get the boxes here, and like I said, it's a good training facility. Group 1 horses have been trained out of here. It's been proven. The statistics show that. So if we're able to sort of grow here and get the results, I don't see a reason to move.
And you say about results, mate, a lot of our listeners and punters out there, they'd all know you have a great record first and second up. Is that something you're mindful of with your horses, or that you target, or?
Not really, but a lot of people say that first up they go good, second up they go a bit flat. It's not something I really train, but I think we just get our horses right. We know when they're ready to head to the races. We know when they've got a good base fitness, they've got 2 trials on their belt, or if they've had that 1 trial, we know we'll put the groundwork into them at home, and they're forward in condition. Where probably not every trainer is the same, but a lot of trainers sort of race them in the fitness, but it's not our sort of style. But I feel that our probably second up record has improved. It's one thing in this game, you never stop learning. That day you know everything, the day to walk away.
Yeah.
So we get results first up, but we've sort of changed things over the last 6 months. We sort of back off them a little bit into their second up run, and that seems to work, and they seem to be sort of springboarding through that way. But like I said, you never stop learning, so you always keep improving, and hopefully the results keep coming.
So I know myself, like I work with my partner, you work with your partner. Who's the real boss? And do you have a few arguments here and there?
Do you want to go there?
I don't.
Nah, it is tough going, but it's probably easier. You can go to the races with 6 runners one day and train 4 winners, and you're copping a hammering off the 2 that got beat from their owners, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It's not like you own them all yourself. You go there, you just take it as it comes. You know what I mean? So you're always dealing with issues in this game, but I suppose the results outweigh that. It's an unbeatable feeling.
The good days, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people describe what it's like to own a racehorse who'd never been in racehorses before, or what it's like to train a winner. It's like grew up playing footy. It's like playing a grand final. You know what I mean? You can't beat that feeling. You can't describe it.
You
that
can't
moment you
describe
go
it.
through,
No.
that enjoyment, the butterflies. It doesn't matter if it's Gosford Maiden. You know what I mean? You still feel the same. You still feel a bit of pressure, and when you do get the result, it's quite pleasant.
Yeah, especially when they start $1.45.
Yeah.
It was at Boston Rocks.
Yeah, there's a little
A bit
bit
of
more
pressure that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, when they've got a bit of ability, there's pressure, isn't there? But
Well, there's an expectation, and we don't put the prices up, but at that price, they expect them to win, don't they?
yeah.
You's expected to win. You's a box walking before the race.
We
Putting
knew
the
it was
pressure
in
on
good
me.
hands.
Got beat. You's would have
Even you
been.
couldn't mess that one up. Mate.
No, I vouch for that. Like I think we said it again with the previous podcast with Matthew. Like, it's a lifestyle. This isn't a job. Like, if it's every single day, 24/7, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I haven't had a holiday for 4.5 years. My holidays
Magics.
going to horse sales.
You'll have to talk to the real boss then.
But then it's more zapping at the sales. It's not really a holiday because it's draining looking at yearlings. You're talking to people on a regular basis, and there is that bit of pressure at the sales too because you got to buy that right horse.
That's our future.
That's our future. You could be an underbidder on one and end up a good horse you probably should have went one more for. Then end up...
I was underbidder on Barbie's sister.
Yeah, who beat
And it
us?
beat us on Saturday.
Yeah, I haven't been through them stories yet where we've had a lot of luck buying yearlings actually. We had great success. Like 12 months ago we bought, nearly 2 years, we bought Rush Hour, we were able to go back to the Magic Moons 12 months later and win a $500,000 race. So then we had sort of willow in and the flow-on effect. We've bought nice yearlings, and I think you learn to pick what the better quality horses, the characteristics you like in a horse, and that sort of flows onto the sale. So it is pretty draining that you got to pick the eyes out of that sale and buy that right horse. And I think you guys are buying quality animals which are going to see us progress to that metropolitan grade. So I'm quite excited for the future for us and Kurrinda moving forward as a team.
No, so are we. And I think it's interesting when you speak to people. We all have things we like and don't like in horses, like yearlings. Like Nath might like something that I don't like. I might like this, and Nath might go, "Oh no, I don't want to touch that." That's what makes this industry so good, isn't it? Like we all.
Well, otherwise everyone would be buying the same horse.
And there's
same
no
product.
rules. There's no rules.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I can't pick a horse that's close in the hocks. They've got to have their power there behind. That's where all their pushing power is, and they're a bit offset in the front or turned in, turned out. That's my problem then if I push forward and go too hard or break the horse down, you know what I mean? But you've got to have that power behind, and foremost, they've got to be an athlete. They've got to walk like an athlete. They've got to walk like a panther, you know what I mean? They can't be sloppy.
Yep.
And we've had good luck doing it so far, and we hope to head back to the Magic Moons and do it again next year.
So we are heading up to the Magics. I think we get there on the 5th.
Yeah.
And
running.
Nath and us will be on the ground, and we'll be finding. We're going to hopefully come away with at least a couple of nice ones, aren't we?
Yeah, most definitely, and we're in it for a good time as well. I know you fellas are on the water, but if anyone wants to buy a chair and a horse, I'll have a beer with you. You want to back out the next day, I'll have a beer with you. But boys will be home in bed anyway. But no, we're in it for a good time as well, and that's the main thing, you know what I mean? You're in for the enjoyment from the start of their career. You get to name them up, you get to progress forward, and like you said, you're buying the right horses. You may have to pay a little bit more for the right horse, but I guarantee you'll get more success at the back end.
Yeah, and that's what we tell our owners. Like, they're better instead of coming into a 10%, coming to a 2.5, and just coming to that next level horse, because you might have 7.5% less, but you're going to have a better time.
I agree, and the statistics show it. A lot of them better horses are from that 80 to 250 mark.
Yep.
A lot of those $1 million horses don't go on and be successful racehorses, but you probably need to spend that 80,000 to get a bit of quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of horses in that bottom range that have got so many issues that not only they got issues, once they come under pressure, it's going to create problems and disappointment. And if you buy that sort of better quality horse that moves like an athlete, it's got better conformation, you've got more possibility of the horse staying sound and a better racing career as well. So
You're just eliminating factors, aren't you?
Yes, and that's probably something that a lot of people don't know, that you are eliminating factors by buying those correct horses, and they do cost a little bit more in the long run, or initial outlay, but the initial outlay is probably the cheapest part.
Yeah.
The upkeep's, you know what I mean? It costs the same for a $30,000 horse as it does for a $300,000 horse. So buy that horse you want. That's probably the thing I can really tell people. And
Doyle Racing, mate, 5 years. Ideally, where would you like to be?
Other than winning plenty of Group 1s for Kurrinda.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice.
No pressure.
it's early on the season, and we're top 10 in the New South Wales Premiership. So it has sort of come in 5 years, and I don't want to predict where we'll be in the next 5 years, as long as you strive to be better.
Punting stories, where we've had a few come in. Mate, do you want to share any good or bad ones, or no comments?
Norwegian Bliss, $5.50 in a Port Macquarie maiden, $1.40.
That's all
let's
that
just
has-
say Morgan sat 3 deep on it and still won by 3.
And what, she won 7 straight, did she?
7 straight.
Yeah, proper horse.
Did he
Yeah.
get a spray for sitting 3D?
No, it won. You can't spray them when they win, but
No, I mean mid-race.
the price went up, and they put up $5, and next minute we seen it was $2.20.
Missed it.
Missed it. Scratched. Went to Port, $5.50.
On.
Boys are on, we can run.
And what did she jump at again?
$1.40.
$1.40. And won quite easily?
Won by 3, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, we thought a bit of her, and she had an issue, so she come to us with issues. But to be stakes place, win 7 straight, it's very hard to do. But she was a good horse to us, and hopefully that flow-on effect can really flow on from that.
Yeah.
And you said, mate, obviously touching earlier there about the quality of stock that we're sending you now, and that any of those horses that anyone should look out for coming up in the future?
Oh, Boston Rocks is showing so much talent. You tried it.
Stevie Wonder could see him.
Didn't he get beat at his first start?
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Touche.
It's pre my time.
I think the Harry Angel colt's a beautiful horse. He's a good moving horse. Harry Angel's done a terrific job. He won't be he probably 4 or 5 weeks off a trial, but what if I tell you too much? Where's our price go?
Yeah, exactly right. And
The
Nathan
owners
hasn't
always be
Pretty
first
quiet there,
in.
you didn't say his name, so
exactly. Nathan didn't say his name, so
yeah. But
I've got 7 Harry Angels at home, but
Boston, he'll be coming back soon. He tried really well.
tried very well. Next preparation. That day we can probably ride him with cover. That's a bit, we need to be a lot more effective horse, but no, he's a beautiful horse, and I think we get a nice result with him.
So guys, subscribe, follow, like, do whatever you do. Again, I don't know how this works. So George, can you tell people?
Yeah,
Download.
subscribe, hit the like button, share it, tell your mates, tell everyone about it, and it's on all good platforms: Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. The lot you can see our ugly mugs in YouTube there. But thanks again to the Prince of Merriweather for being so accommodating again,
And Nathan's
Nathan
time.
for joining us, mate. You're doing a great job, and we look forward to the future.
And what did you say off camera? If you share this, you'll cover 2.5% share for someone next year.
Oh,
Read the fine print.
no, thank you.
It'll get me out of that one somehow.
We'll be in touch. Just keep an eye out on our Magic horses, guys. We're going to buy some cracking yearlings, and keep an eye out. Get involved. There's no better feeling in the world than winning a nice race. So get involved, and we'll get the next podcast out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll be out again, and we'll have plenty of stuff on socials about Magic Millions out and about hitting the ground. And yeah, we'll let everyone know what we've managed to secure, and we're excited. It's a great catalogue.
Let's get a beer.
So chat, guys.
Thanks, mate.